How much Jeff can save you. Book your free in-home consultation today at usainsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
Back on the road again. The Brewers head to Cincinnati to take on the Reds.
Watching it sail, it's a grand slam! Oh my goodness, Christian Yelich.
Our coverage of Brewers Reds starts tonight at 5:35. We are the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
Approaching 10 o'clock, it's 74 degrees in Milwaukee, breezy, warm, and humid today. Some rain and potentially storms later tonight, a high of 83 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking Newsroom, I'm Greg Matzik. Testimony continues in day 6 of the Shade Robinson murder trial. 34-year-old Maxwell Anderson accused of killing and dismembering the 19-year-old in April of 2024. Milwaukee County detectives this morning reviewed surveillance footage of Anderson and Robinson during their date at Duke's on Water Street. The video is believed to be the last known footage showing Robinson alive. They also reviewed the search warrant and Anderson's arrest, which happened a block and a half away from his home, along with gloves that were found near Robinson's remains. A convicted felon admits to falsifying a threat to President Trump to get the victim in his case deported.
3 letters written in English were sent to the Wisconsin Attorney General, Milwaukee's police chief, and Milwaukee's ICE office. They were addressed from Ramon Morales Reyes, an undocumented crime victim who cannot speak or write English. He's the victim of a robbery and aggravated battery by 52-year-old Demetric Scott. A criminal complaint details calls that Scott made from jail, where he's heard talking about sending the letters in hopes of preventing Morales Reyes from testifying against him. He now faces charges of identity theft and felony witness intimidation. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Morales Reyes is applying for a U visa, but could still be deported. Milwaukee Public Schools is over 2 weeks late in submitting financial data to the State Department of Public Instruction, but Superintendent Dr. Brenda Casillas says that isn't entirely true, telling Dr. Ken Harris on our sister station, 101.7 The Truth, that some reports have indeed been submitted.
They'll continue to hold us for the final things that need to get delivered this week. And then as we continue to finish out our audit with our auditors, then they'll release the funds for us.
The district is working to correct errors from an outdated accounting system and transfer to a new one that aligns with the DPI's system. A vehicle crashes into an apartment building in Greenfield.
You're responding to 3126 West American Drive for a vehicle versus an apartment. There's 2 subjects in the car. They're not complaining of any injuries at this time.
That's police scanner audio from Broadcastify. It happened about 5:30 this morning near 27th and Layton at the American Colony Apartments. 2 people were in the vehicle when it crashed into 2 separate units, but no word yet on any injuries or what caused the crash. Medical examiner confirms to WTMJ they have not been called to the scene. And the Milwaukee Police Department now has a task force to target street takeovers.
Large crowds, speeding cars, burnouts. Sometimes people throw fireworks out of the cars. Other times, people fire guns. Now the Milwaukee Police Department has specific patrols to stop street takeovers.
Pretty much there's a south side team and a north side team, and we have a task force of squads that are combined with tow trucks to combat this issue.
MPD started the task force about 2.5 weeks ago. Sergeant Efrain Cordejo says they're already seeing results.
We've arrested at least 21 individuals, and we've towed at least 31 vehicles.
Jessica Tai, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Some positive momentum here this morning with all the indices in the green. The Dow currently up about 60 points at 42,360. NASDAQ up 125 today at 19,368. S&P 500 up about 20 at 59.54. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 10:03.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. Don't miss Capri Community's Enjoy Life Active Aging Symposium on Wednesday, June 4th at Elmbrick Church in Brookfield from 8:30 to 3 p.m. This is a free and fun event for older adults 55 plus that celebrates active aging, featuring speakers like John McGivern and Jennifer Bartolotta, exhibitors, goat yoga, speed friending, raffles, food, music, and much more. Make the day your own. Pre-register at enjoylifesymposium.com. That's enjoylifesymposium.com.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn. Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Frank Pasternak of Pasternak and Zergabel. Jeff Zergabel and I are injury attorneys living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
Save on the best quality furniture and mattresses during the Memorial Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture. With major discounts from our premier suppliers, you will save big bucks on top brands like Bradington Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradington Young is known for its fine quality leather upholstery. Fjords brings you modern Scandinavian designed recliners and sofas, ergonomically engineered for more hip and back support. Norwalk, with American roots that go back over 100 years, specializes in making furniture just for you. Choose the piece, style, fabric, or leather you want, and in just 35 days, we'll deliver your new sofa, chair, or sectional. In stock or special orders are all sale priced. Need a little help putting it all together? At Ken Michaels Furniture, our design staff is ready to help you with your purchases, and it's free. Stop in today and save during our Memorial Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture on Capitol Drive in Brookfield, Highway 100 in Greenfield, or our downtown Mattress Factory showroom.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Brewers have won 8 in a row. They topped the Reds 3-2 on Monday night. Christian Yelich left Sunday's win over the Phillies early after being hit in the hand. He returned to Monday night's lineup and even had a home run.
How do you celebrate your first Player of the Week award of the 2025 season? Hit a home run, of course.
3-2 to Yelich. Breaking ball hammered deep into center field. Friedel's going back, turning at the warning track, watching it sail at the wall. It's way out of here. Making a bid to be Player of the Week in the National League again.
Josh Mauer on the call. Manager Pat Murphy.
Sore hand or not, he crushed 2 balls tonight, so he's living up to his Player of the Week.
For WTMJ, I'm Dominic Cotroneo.
Brewers back in action tonight. Game 2 of the Reds series. Coverage begins at 5:35 on WTMJ, and Block 2 of organized team activities continues for the Packers. Mandatory minicamp gets rolling June 10th. Taking a look at your roads, a WTMJ Time Saver traffic update. Usual slowdown spots here, 41, 45, northbound and southbound. The southbound delays begin about the county line and extend down to about Burleigh. You're kind of on and off the brakes, but pretty steady delays working your way through that system. Northbound side, not as bad. Delays begin about Watertown Plank. Things clear up before you get to Hampton Avenue. About a 5-minute delay coming south, about a 4-minute delay moving north. Otherwise, things moving fairly steadily on the freeway system here today. Getting out of downtown, moving your way toward the stadium. You're going to be on the brakes around 27th Street, and things should clear up once you get past Mitchell. Warm, windy, humid, and a chance for some rain later on tonight. Brian Nisnansky, chief meteorologist from TMJ4 News, says the window for rain activity could pick up somewhere in the 2 o'clock hour. It's not going to be overly heavy all around, but could be some rain that falls, might hear some thunder, and even see a little bit of lightning later on tonight. Otherwise, warm temperatures tomorrow after that cold front moves through, a high of just 65 degrees. Right now it's 76 in Horicon, 69 in Hartford, 76 in Hustisford, and 72 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 10:07.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
It's been a minute. You're not a lawyer.
No, I'm not a lawyer.
Not a lawyer. Do you ever wish you were?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
There's still time. I could still do it.
I guess you could. You are a lifelong learner. But we thought it was time to bring back our friend, retired circuit court judge, Mary Kuhn-Mensch, to talk things, all things legal, law, court cases, both in Wisconsin and at the national level. So it's been a minute.
Yeah, it has been. But good morning. And you actually are, if you both want to be lawyers, you're sort of bucking the trend. A lot of lawyers, especially young ones that really put in a lot of long hours in the district attorney's office or the public defender's office, they can get burned out pretty quickly and get disillusioned, particularly when their pay isn't really up to speed and all sorts of other reasons. And the good ones stay with it, but there is a point where some lawyers just get that burnout factor and decide that they really would like to do something else.
What if I just want to get a law degree just to know that stuff?
You can try and get in. take the LSAT study.
I feel like there should be allowance for older people that want to just get a law degree. I think there should be
take some legal studies online courses.
Start baby steps.
I think there's nothing wrong with that, and I encourage people to go on and get themselves educated, whether it's in a formal way or an informal way, by studying the law or talking to others. They have online courses in specific areas of the law, whether it's consumer, how to protect yourself if you're a consumer, and need to know what businesses can and can't do as it relates to that. And there's all sorts of master classes and different things. You can listen to TED Talks. There's the internet does have its faults, but it also has some interesting programming that is relatively cheap, and you could educate yourself sort of informally that way. And if you really are serious and you want to use the degree to actually practice law and to help others, then I would encourage you to do it. If you're just doing it and take up a seat in the law school class at Marquette, Wisconsin, just because you have a curiosity, I'm not sure the admissions group is going to...
I think Mary just scolded me on live radio.
If you're not going to use it in terms of, being productive, they don't want to use their resources.
All right, how about mail order? Maybe that's the way I go. I do it that way.
All right. So the last time you were here, we had you on I think the Monday after Judge Hannah Dugan had her perp walk, and we got your kind of initial thoughts on that. It's been over a month. It has to have been at least over a month since we've seen you last. And since then, obviously, we know that her lawyers have filed for the judge to dismiss the case. There's also been 138 former judges supporting dismissing the Dugan case. But interestingly enough, they're former, but they're also not in Wisconsin, a lot of them.
Well, some
correct?
of them are, but for the most part, they're federal judges. I did read the list and reviewed it when it first came out, and because I was curious, because sitting judges have some ethical boundaries that whether you're at the federal level or at the state level, we are required to follow our ethics code and not participate in anything that would appear to have us weighing in one way or the other of the legitimacy of an actual case, and making statements about that one way or the other while you're still hearing cases yourself. Totally inappropriate, and that's why there are not any sitting judges. They do preface the list by saying these are former retired judges, and they were, for the most part, as far as I could tell, the majority, and the majority meaning almost all, were retired federal judges from across the country.
And across the political, as far as who appointed them,
Absolutely.
Right? It was people who were appointed by Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, and W. Bush.
Absolutely. And so I don't mean to diminish that by saying that they're retired. I'm retired. I do go back as a reserve judge, and I'm sure some of them do as well. So I'm still mindful of things that I should or should not be weighing in on when I'm on the program with you folks. But that said, what I think they're trying to establish is a pushback because they feel that they're more free to do it than the sitting federal judges who are being constantly under attack, particularly those at the trial court level who are hearing most of the cases involving President Trump's issue on tariffs, immigration, and so forth. And so the retired ones are kind of taking up the slack and saying, we'll do the pushback. We have a little bit more freedom to do that. We're going to let the president know and the executive know that when you start crossing over and criticizing judges, arresting judges, we're going to fight back, and we'll do it with every means that we can, including writing letters and standing up for other judges who are being unfairly attacked.
What's more interesting, the question of whether she went too far or the punishment for whatever she is, if she is convicted?
I think it's going to be the punishment. I've long said, and I think I even commented on it at the time, probably prematurely, but I still believe it. And I was trying to be honest with your audience. I don't believe that this is going to rise to the level of and by the way, a lot of my colleagues disagree with me. I don't know that this should be a fodder for the criminal courts in the federal system or in the state system. I believe that what she did violates our ethical code, no question about it. We have Chapter 60 of Wisconsin law deals with what judges can and cannot do and what we can and cannot say. And we have a judicial commission that looks at that. And then we have the Supreme Court that will be the final arbiter of what punishment they hand down. And that should be
the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
The Wisconsin Supreme Court. And that's exactly what it should be. Should this be played out in the criminal courts? We're going to find out, because I think that dismissal motion is going to be interesting. And what's going to be even more interesting is whatever Judge Edelman rules, if he dismisses it and grants their motion, it's going to obviously be appealed immediately to the Seventh Circuit. And most people believe that the Seventh Circuit will say there are too many questions of fact. This can't be resolved and dismissed just based on a motion. This should go to trial and let it play out. Will there be a plea? All those kinds of things come into effect, or will it go to a full trial? My position is this should never have been brought in the criminal courts, but if it is, it's probably going to, if Judge Edelman rules that in favor of the judge and says this should be dismissed, my belief is the Seventh Circuit will overturn that and will ultimately go to trial.
Retired Milwaukee County Judge Mary Kuhnmensch, Kristin and Steve, point taken on this Tuesday after the break. The highest courts, the High Court, looking at a lot of different legal questions, including the actions of the president, and a recent ruling on the status of 500,000 immigrants in this country, which is going to be a hot button one for quite a while. We'll continue the conversation on 620 WTMJ.
The very front of the Brewers front office is on Wisconsin's Morning News.
I think it's something sort of our brand of baseball. You know, we're going to play you tough and play hard night in and night out, and we're here and we're going to fight you all 9 innings.
Brewers GM and Senior Vice President Matt Arnold is our Brewers 360 guest every Thursday morning at 8:45.
How soon do I start asking you about trades and stuff, Matt?
My phone's always on, so no.
Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited and Big Fish Contracting.
All right, it's Kristin Brey here. This Friday, you need to check out my friend, John McCure, who it's his birthday today. So later today, you want to maybe wish him a happy birthday. But he is going to be co-hosting a webinar with Annex Wealth Management's Brian Jacobson, chief economist. Don't miss it this Friday, June 6th at 9 a.m. for an instant insight after the jobs report is released. Brian and John will provide you with all you need to know, where they share instant analysis on breaking financial and market news. Visit WTMJ.com and click the Instant Insight Register Now button, or check out events at annexwealth.com. That's this Friday, June 6th at 9 a.m. with John McCure and Brian Jacobson. Register today.
Here's to the farm and fleet dads, the ones who take pride in a job well done, the ones who make the most of every moment and still take the time to pass it on. At Blaine's, we're here to make this Father's Day special with gifts for one-of-a-kind dads at prices that'll make them proud. Like a Performance Tool Power Tool Storage Rack, $19.99, and Power-Up gifts with 8 packs of Duracell AA or AAA batteries, $6.99 each. Find the value you need to make this Father's Day special. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Be an original.
It's Gina Della. You've heard me define what makes Pella Windows and Doors different. Let me introduce you to the woman behind the billboards, commercials, and share my extraordinary journey of resilience, reinvention, and shattering glass ceilings every Saturday morning at 6:30 on 620 WTMJ and anywhere you stream podcasts for What's the Difference with Gina Della, to discuss business coaching across all industries, featuring successful executives, entrepreneurs, and mentors along the way. This is a story you won't want to miss.
Yes, indeed. John McCure's birthday. Happy 68 to John McCure. He looks good for 60. I didn't realize he was older than me. So you see him out and about. Certainly happy birthday.
Just aging the man.
I know.
Wait a minute.
He would, I mean, he would look really good for 68 if he was 68.
Oh, you don't think he is?
No.
Oh, okay. Did I misrepresent there?
A little bit.
Well, that's sort of a legal question if I misrepresented myself, and this is in a courtroom.
Does that rise to the level of defame?
What's your intent in doing it?
Oh,
libel?
Look at Mary Kuhnmensch getting right to the heart of the matter. All right, so I'm intrigued by this story because it involves so many people, and when you look at the actions of the U.S. Supreme Court, the president has been pretty on point since the campaign started and throughout his early days of the administration, that he has a clear idea of what he wants to happen in this country, and that is removing people he thinks, his administration thinks, don't belong in this country. We're talking about people from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela, many who live and work in this country. And the Supreme Court ruled that this administration can stop something that the Biden era, is a humanitarian program that sort of allowed them to be legal to be here. At least, I don't know what the status was. Was it a temporary status? Well, that has been essentially thrown out, blocking a lower court ruling. Where do you think this story goes next?
You know, this is pretty consistent with who Donald Trump is and his politics. And whether you agree or not, we've had other presidents that have taken this same route, probably not to the degree he has, but he's a nationalist. He clearly a nationalist and an isolationist in terms of how he treats our traditional allies. He treats everyone as an alien. They are not the United States, so us first, always first, and we don't need to mingle and involve ourselves in things that aren't going to advance our interests. He does that with trade. He does that with I think our military, and he does that with anything economic. And so, whether you agree with it or not, that's his position. How he is going about that, whether it's on immigration issues or whether it's on tariffs, is the devil is in the details, as you know, Steve and Kristin. It's what are the words that he uses? How is he approaching it? He goes right up to the line, and I would argue in many instances, and the courts are finding that to be so, that he crosses it. We've never ever had a president that has come that really runs his view of the law is, how do I get around it? Not how do I abide by it, but how do I get around it? It's a nuisance to me. And how do I deal with this nuisance? And he's doing it on two different levels. His first level, in my opinion, was attack the judges, really criticize them unfairly. And you heard John Roberts, Chief Justice, fight back and push back a little bit on that. And so he's kind of toned that down a little bit, but not all the way. He still is critical of judges, and he's shifted it a little bit instead of just criticizing them as being inappropriate or they're stupid or they're this or they're that or they're activists. He's now said that they are sticking their nose in where it doesn't belong. Judges are not to involve themselves in what is really an executive power granted to me under Article 2 of the Constitution. Then he's taken that to the extreme by invoking some of our oldest acts that we have from going back. I think the Aliens and Enemies Act goes back to 1798. And so you've got the federal judges saying no, that you don't. This is not an emergency. You can't create an emergency out of whole cloth or fake that this is an emergency and then say because it's an emergency, whether it's with dealing with illegal aliens in our country or whether it's dealing with unfair trade practices, you can't say or just because you say it's an emergency doesn't make it so. It has to still meet a certain threshold, and we have to go through the act itself, whether it's, again, the Insurrection Act, as to why he wants to bring in the National Guard and, when there's riots, or whether it's the Aliens and Enemies Act when he's trying to and says that we've got people that don't belong in this country, didn't come in the right way, and we are going to assume that what they're doing is nefarious or bad and undermine our rule of law, and so we are going to take them out any way we can, whether it's with military or ICE or anything else. And so he's using acts that date back way, way back, which we used during wartime, during emergency situations that we clearly knew were emergencies. And he's coming up against a wall with the federal judges, and that's bothering him.
This is a layman's perspective because I'm not a lawyer, as I said at the beginning of the show. But is this the Supreme Court saying we have a lot more to figure out about the bigger questions about some of these, using these old acts, or what is this?
That's what I was going to ask.
Work in progress.
When you look at what the decision was from the Supreme Court on this case specifically, is it because it was a Biden era program that was an executive action, and so thus it can be undone by an executive action?
Well, I think it goes even further than that. I think this court, right or wrong, I sometimes think it's wrong because the Supreme Court of the United States has the ultimate decision to say, yes, we're going to take these cases up, or no, we're not. It has the ultimate power to say we're going to take these up and treat them as emergencies and use our shadow docket to treat and to rule that way, which is really out of the public eye, or we can say no. I wish they would say no more often. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. There are a lot of decisions that the federal judges at the district court level and then at the appellate court level, meaning like our Seventh Circuit, where my former colleagues Diane Sykes and Mike Brennan sit in Chicago, the Seventh Circuit, or the Second District, which is in New York, or the Third District, which is in Washington, D.C., or the Ninth District, which is in California. Those are the appellate. They're a breath away from the Supreme Court of the United States. And when they make rulings that are sound and legitimate, those should stand. You don't have to, just because the president is appealing them all to and treating them like they're these really novel issues, the Supreme Court is giving him too much credit, in my opinion, and taking every case he brings up. I think that that's a mistake, and it's causing them to use the shadow docket more than they should be or what it was ever intended to be.
So that's a good segue, Mary. When we come back, let's talk a little bit more about the rise of the shadow docket and it not being an oddity as much anymore. So we are here with retired Circuit Court Judge Mary Kuhn-Mensch. I am Kristin. He's Steve. This is Point Taken, and we'll be right back.
At QC Kinetics, we're all about keeping you in the game, helping you get lasting relief from joint pain. That's why we're excited to announce that QC Kinetics is now partnering with the National Pickleball League. So many of our satisfied patients are avid pickleball players, and they're thrilled with how we've helped them get back on the court. As lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League, we're committed to help pickleball fans of all ages latest, most advanced regenerative cell treatments. These treatments use your body's own healing power, revitalizing and restoring damaged joint tissue the natural way, with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Whether you're a pickleball fanatic or enjoy golf or running or tennis, stay in the game with help from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics, proud to promote active, pain-free living as a lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Imagine trying to take on one of the big car companies. It's not easy. Yet recently, one local law firm finalized the largest compensatory verdict in state history against an automaker, over $38 million. And it was no fluke. That same firm has been holding big car companies accountable for faulty designs that cause injury for over 50 years. Because Wisconsinites know who to call when it's a must-win scenario. They call Habish, Habish & Rotier. National reputation, hometown service.
Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi, and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handle all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
Hi, I'm Rose Gray with Fox World Travel, and I'm excited to share that our exclusive guided Alaska land and sea journeys are now available for 2026. We partner with Holland America Line to curate the best and most sought-after experiences to Alaska. We send hundreds of travelers from Wisconsin to Alaska every year, along with experienced Fox tour managers for peace of mind. Don't just picture Alaska, live it. We have limited spots, and these tours are booking fast. Visit Fox World Travel online or call 866 Go Fox Go.
While our NL Central phone may be seeing red.
That light! Oh, the red. Yeah, it's a chicken roaster sign.
Just wait till we put your bats to bed.
2 balls and 2 strikes on McCutchen. The pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
It's the Brewers headed to Cincinnati to take on the Reds.
Abner Uribe, the Cowboy.
Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 5:35. We are the home of the Brewers. WTMJ.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Mary Kuhn-Mensch, retired Milwaukee County Circuit Judge, in studio. Kristin, Brey, Steve Scaffidi. Point taken on 620 WTMJ. This whole conversation, we're going to actually do a couple segments on this because I think it's really interesting. The shadow docket and the Supreme Court just getting themselves involved in a lot of cases. I would argue that that's because the president has sort of provided them with that opportunity, given all the executive orders and all the challenges. I think I saw the number was like 160 something. Right. It's just absolutely. So what do you make of the shadow docket in its use?
Well,
or what is it first?
First of all, historically, what the shadow docket is, I'm going to try and explain this in layman's terms, is that if in fact, there would be, and I've used the phrase before talking about injunctions, so I'll talk about that a little bit too. If in fact, something's going to occur, or something is occurring that could create what we call irreparable harm, that meaning that it would be very difficult for the court to undo it, what's happening. They have the ability to hear a case on an emergency basis. It's so important that this issue's got to be resolved, and it's got to be resolved now. And your regular docket, which is go through the trial court, which is the district court, go to the Court of Appeals, which is the Seventh Circuit for Wisconsin, and then finally file a motion to go up to the Supreme Court. That won't protect the issue that we need to have resolved, and we need to have it resolved now. And so they created this sort of secondary docket because it's in the shadow of the docket that all of us normally see. My docket and the Supreme Court's docket. When we're talking about dockets, what we mean are the listing of cases that the court is going to be hearing on any given day and any given month. And you can go to any court in the courthouse in Milwaukee where I practice, and my docket sheet was on the front door. So you could see where your case was, what's going to be heard by the judge this day, and what cases are going to trial, if any. That's the same at the Supreme Court level of the United States. And that's so that there's transparency, all of us can follow it, all of us can see it, and we know, these are the cases that they're going to take up, we should follow these. Then there's the shadow docket, which are the emergency cases that come up on an emergency basis. And it was very rarely used until we had probably in the last, I'm going to say 10 years, and primarily by people like President Biden, by second President Bush, President Biden, and now President Trump, more in his second term than he ever did in his first term. But those presidents within the last 10 to 12 years have seemed to fancy themselves with every issue that they get involved in, or their Justice Department get involved in, that it's an emergency and it's got to be heard now. And so they are trying to use and invoke the Supreme Court to use the shadow docket to resolve it.
Let's hold that thought. We have retired Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Mary Kuhnmensch in studio, along with Kristin and Steve on this Tuesday edition of Point Taken. Lots more to get to on the Tuesday edition. What else we got on our docket? What's our docket today?
Our docket, we're going to hear a little bit more about when the Wisconsin Supreme Court is going to finally make some decisions.
All right, all that coming up. Local news with Greg Matzik. Before we get to any of that, here's the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Palestinian health officials and witnesses say Israeli forces fired at crowds of people headed toward an aid distribution site in Gaza. 27 people were killed, nearly 200 wounded. The UN says the Israeli and U.S.-backed humanitarian sites have not been addressing Gaza's mounting hunger crisis. Police in Boulder, Colorado, continuing to investigate the firebomb attack that wounded a dozen people. The suspect, Mohammed Solomon, had been planning the attack for at least a year, police say. President Trump's 50% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports are set to take effect tomorrow. ABC's Rachel Scott.
The Trump administration is showing no signs of backing off of these steep and sweeping tariffs, even amid all of these court challenges, arguing that it is disrupting ongoing negotiations. So about 60 days into this trade war now, the U.S. has only announced a deal with one country, the U.K.
Newark Mayor Ras Baraka has sued New Jersey's top prosecutor after being arrested at an immigration detention facility. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 10:31, 74 degrees and sunny at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik. Police investigating the death of an infant responding to an apartment near Baldwin Street and Washington Avenue about 8:20 Saturday morning. Despite life-saving efforts, the baby boy later died at the hospital. Police did not locate anything suspicious at the apartment. The man charged in connection to a deadly wrong-way driving crash on I-43 is now in custody. 34-year-old Ace View faces 2 counts of first-degree reckless homicide and 1 count of first-degree reckless injury. Ozaukee County Sheriff's Office says Vu was released from the hospital sometime over the weekend without law enforcement being notified. Nicole and Jay Horn died at the crash scene after Vu struck their car near Port Washington Road on Memorial Day. Their daughter was injured, but she is expected to survive. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Pretty good day going here. All the indices in the green as we hit 1032. The Dow is currently up about 120 points at 42,422. The NASDAQ is up about 140 today at 19,380. S&P 500 up about 25 at 5959. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. It's financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com. Taking a look at your roads, a WTMJ Time Saver traffic update. Usual slowdown spots here, 41, 45 northbound and southbound. The northbound delays begin about Watertown Plank. you should be freed up once you get a little past Hampton Avenue as you approach Silver Spring. Southbound side, you are backed up right around Silver Spring, a little north of it, as a matter of fact. And you'll stay on the brakes till you get past Burleigh. About a 4-minute delay going south, 3-minute delay going north. Also, a little bit of congestion getting out of downtown Milwaukee. You might be tapping on the brakes here around 35th Street all the way through the stadium. Warm and windy today, touch of humidity, and a chance for some rain a little later this afternoon. Some thunderstorms possible as well this evening. High of 83 degrees. With the rain comes a cold front. Morning rain on Wednesday, then partly cloudy and a high of 64. 77 inland, your high on Thursday. Right now it's 76 in Theresa, 73 in Thiensville, 79 in Taycheedah, 72 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 10:34.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn. Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Jeff Zergabel of Pasternak and Zergabel. Frank Pasternak and I are injury lawyers living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
Monica, we've got to hand it to you.
You and the design team have outdone yourselves. Are you talking about the One Collection? Those rings say you are the one.
And they say it symbolically.
Describe the symbols.
Every ring in the One Collection should be presented with a special ritual.
What would that ritual be?
You pick up her left hand and you place a kiss on her ring finger.
Rick, you never told me about that part.
Then you show her the tiny red diamond, flush mounted inside the ring, that will forever be in contact with her finger.
Why is it red?
Because that's when the giver says to the one, wherever you go, my heart goes with you.
I give you this kiss. I give you my heart. The red diamond is a secret symbol of that sacred moment. The center diamond on the outside of the ring is for the whole world to see.
But the tiny red created diamond inside the ring is only for the two of them.
The One Collection of engagement rings is available exclusively at Kessler's. To find the Kessler's nearest you,
visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for Tri-County Contracting. You've heard about Tri-County Contracting and their worry-free roof tune-up. You've heard about their instant roof quote. But don't forget, Tri-County Contracting also handles windows. Our project at my home moving right along right now, and the process has been so easy and thorough. It's nice when you can trust the team you're working with and know that they are looking out for you. Tri-County Contracting, WI.com. It's worry-free roofing, siding, and also windows. Tri-County Contracting, WI.com. All right, we're talking to retired Milwaukee County Judge Brey, Kristin and Steve. Point taken on 620. Interesting music.
I was going to say, are we listening to some like Irish shit? What are we listening to?
Emerson, Lake, and Powell.
Palmer.
No, this has Cozy Powell on drums.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
So that's when they sort of split up a little bit.
Correct.
Good qualifier
Good catch,
there. Yeah. You're into Emerson, Lake, and Palmer apparently now, and Powell. Good stuff.
I'm trying not to go overboard, okay? They don't all work
I bet
as
you
bump
listens to
music.
Steamroller, too.
All right.
Whatever that group was.
You were talking about shadow docket, right? The stuff that kind of gets thrown in this, whether under this umbrella of emergency, or we must have a ruling here, or at least something has to happen.
It's such an ominous name.
Yeah.
Like something from Harry
because
Potter.
it's in the shadow of what our docket is.
Understanding,
and
but
it is.
much more.
I can tell you the lawyers don't like it. You ask the vast majority of lawyers who are, there are a lot of other cases that need to be heard, by the way, across this country, both at the federal and state level, particularly on civil litigation or family cases or things where we need courts and higher courts to rule and make opinions. If you were to ask the practitioners, a lot of them that you've had on the show, whether it be, a Kevin O'Neill or whether it be Tom Kuzmanovich or even Jim Santel, they will tell you that their cases are all getting treated as like second-class citizens, and they're having a hard time to get a date and get it heard because the oxygen is all out of the room because it's all being weighed to these federal cases and being put on the shadow docket and being monopolized by the president right now. And so you've got the bar that's sitting out there going, wait a minute, we've got this is important cases that need to be heard as well. And we're being kicked. We used to be kicked to the back of the line just to get to the actual Supreme Court docket, and now we're getting kicked back even further because they've got this shadow docket that's completely filled up as well.
So where does birthright citizenship fall into this question?
Well, to me, that's a no-brainer. But that's me. And that does.
Well, it's constitutionally.
I believe it's
protected.
It's already a constitution. It's been resolved. Why does that need to go on the shadow docket? It's been resolved. The Supreme Court, the lower courts have already made some very good rulings on that, and that would be one where I would, if I were the Supreme Court, I wouldn't even be taking it up. Have some faith in your appellate court judges to be making these decisions. And in fact, I will tell you, in Wisconsin, let's just give an example of this, just so that the public understands how this works. The vast majority of people who come into the court system, they come in to see me or my 47 colleagues in the Milwaukee County Circuit Court, or if they live in Dane County, the Dane County. Why? Because we're the trial judges. Everything comes in, whether it's a civil case, a family case, makes no difference. That's how it's set up, and I believe that that's a good process. We hear the cases. Now, if we make errors, because we make an error in terms of a procedural issue, or we make an error in terms of a legal question, that's what you have the Court of Appeals for. They are what's called an error-correcting court. That Judge Kuhnmensch erred when she did this or didn't do that. And so for that reason, the Court of Appeals has said, we're going to, based on what we understand as the law in the state of Wisconsin, we're going to send it back, we're going to overturn her, and we're going to rule this way, or we're going to say it can still now be fixed by the trial court, send it back down, and have Judge Kuhnmensch do it over again. And then you very rarely have to have the Court of Appeals, their decision be appealed to the Supreme Court. In fact, of the state of Wisconsin, the vast majority of our cases, I would say it's probably upwards of 94% of the cases that come into the courthouse right down the street here are resolved at the trial court level, and they never even get appealed. And then the remaining 4% go to the Court of Appeals, and they do the error correcting. And that is really where it should end. Then there's that 2% where people feel, no, this is a novel issue. This has never really been heard before. We need to have the Court of Appeals decision reviewed by the Supreme Court. That's 2%. So when I tell you that the vast majority of cases, whether it's at the federal level or the state level, where people walk in to have their lawsuit handled by the courts and for the courts to make a decision, they're handled at the very first level. And it's always been that way. And what we're having is the Supreme Court taking up all of the cases, or most of them, that Trump appeals from the Seventh Circuit, Third Circuit, Second Circuit. These are all very intelligent judges who are a hair's breadth away from the Supreme Court that have been doing this for years. They make decisions that are final. Just because you can, Supreme Court of the United States, doesn't mean you should. You shouldn't take every single thing up, because you're not discerning then as to what the lower courts have done right and what they've done wrong. You're saying everything is wrong, and so everything needs to be heard by us to correct it. And I think that's a really bad road to go down.
And is this a decision that is by the majority of the Supreme Court that is saying, we want to hear this case? Or is this like Chief Justice Roberts saying, picking and choosing?
No, it's the Supreme Court as a group.
So if they're getting five votes to say, we want to hear this on and put this on the shadow docket. Okay.
That's correct.
But we don't know it's 5 votes. It could be 6 votes.
At least it's at least 5.
At least it has to be at least 5.
Yes.
Okay. So, and they're doing that in greater numbers. I would say that the vast majority, you're really going to, this is where you're really going to need to lean on your John Roberts and Judge Amy Coney Barrett. I think they need to do a better job of saying no, and they're not. And so that's where they're getting those, the conservative group is getting their 5 votes. I think those two need to start limiting it and saying that not every single case that he brings is an emergency or a novel act. It's not. Now, I did want to make a distinction here. The public sometimes thinks that when the court says, "Oh, we're going to hear it," that means that they've automatically going to rule in Trump's favor. No, that's not what that means. And more often than not, it doesn't mean that. Or they've granted an injunction and kept his tariffs in place, or that means that's what they're ultimately going to decide. No, it's not. What it means is that they believe that there's enough of a legal question there that's going to take some time to sort through, that they're going to do it. And a good example of this is anybody who is alive and remembers what happened during President Nixon's administration when he absolutely refused to turn over his tapes and used every every legal tool and political tool at his disposal to try and fight that. And initially, Judge Sirica, who out of the 3rd District, did grant him a stay on one instance so that he could have his lawyers come in and make an argument. He ultimately, made the decision, no, Mr. President, you turn those over or we're going to find you in contempt.
That's where the name Rosemary Woods
That's exactly
is
right.
We got to take a break here. We're already late. Mary Kuhnmensch, retired Milwaukee County Judge, Kristin and Steve. Point taken on 620 WTMJ.
Dan, what are you doing?
Taking a closet for a test drive.
A test drive?
Here at Inspired Closets, we have our own cutting-edge immersive design experience.
That's right. Envisioned by Inspired Closets uses AR technology that's sort of like test driving a car.
Virtually walk into your custom closet at scale before anything is even built.
You can even make changes in real time, so your environment will adapt to any design revisions you make in that moment.
Get started today at InspiredClosetsMilwaukee.com.
Inspired Closets, a wife and husband team.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi from Milwaukee Weight Loss. Yes, I've been on this journey for about 4 months now, lost 40 pounds. It's a secret, by the way, to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day. Their doctors developed easy-to-follow weight loss program. Helps you lose the weight fast, naturally, safely. No drugs or injections or risk of serious side effects. None of the gimmicky stuff, the meals, bars, shakes. You don't even have to exercise, although I encourage you to walk every day. Their program helps reset your metabolism. That's what it did for me. And you keep the weight off for good with a coach for ongoing support. Their program costs half as much and works up to twice as fast as most of their programs. Whenever I'm away from the show, people always ask me about it. I say, go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Schedule your free consultation. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. I did it. You can do it. It's crazy to watch your body lose that weight. Schedule your free consultation by calling 262-449-1180. 262-449-1180, or go online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
St. Anne Center for Intergenerational Care recently switched to James Imaging Systems for their document imaging technology. Why? CFO Sally Parente.
Well, I think that boils back down to the service. We have a good partnership with James Imaging.
With James, you get more than a vendor relationship. You get a local business technology partner.
Oh, absolutely. I can pick up the phone at any time, contact our representative, and he's right on it.
James Imaging Systems, business technology and local support for more productivity, more value.
Definitely. We're a nonprofit here. We have to watch every penny, so we really feel very comfortable in that area with James Imaging.
Comfortable enough to recommend James Imaging Systems to others?
Well, without hesitation, I would recommend James Imaging. They won't be disappointed.
James Imaging Systems. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
This Friday, you need to check out a webinar I'm co-hosting with Annex Wealth Management's chief economist, Brian Jacobson. Don't miss it this Friday, June 6th at 9 a.m. for an instant insight after the jobs report is released. Brian and I will provide you with all you need to know. We'll share instant analysis on breaking financial and market news. Visit WTMJ.com and click the Instant Insight Register Now button or check out events at AnnexWealth.com. That's this Friday, June 6th at 9 a.m. with me, John Mercure, and Brian Jacobson. Register today.
The next time you're due for service, visit richlands.com to schedule an appointment at any of our 5 conveniently located facilities.
All AAA approved and all staffed by ASE certified technicians ready to serve you.
Richlands.
Talking the courts and the legal system, and let's shift to the...
Let's move back to Wisconsin.
Yes.
All right, so I feel like we've been talking about the abortion case in Wisconsin, the 1849 abortion case. My daughter's going to be 2 in September, and I have been, I was pregnant when Brey fell, and just feeling like we've been waiting for a while to get this finalized.
And quite honestly, we shouldn't. If it works the way it's supposed to work, we shouldn't. But politics is politics.
Yeah.
And it is so much a part of the Supreme Court races and the Supreme Court right now in Wisconsin that every year there was going to be a new election, and it could swing the leanings of the court. Mm-hmm. And the Democrats and the liberals, I'm using their words, not mine, but people who view, abortion one way, in a more lenient way, and what the law ought to be in this state, were having candidates that were up for election and that could swing the vote on the Supreme Court. And so it kept getting pushed and pushed. And the same is true right now. I don't believe that the court's going to hear this until Susan Crawford is actually seated in August.
Well, they've heard it. They're just right. They've heard it. They're sitting on it.
And
so that's, I guess, if she wasn't seated when they heard the arguments, how does that work?
They can also, because she has transcripts.
Okay.
She also has the law, and she has that statute that we, even as trial court judges, had to be familiar with how to apply that law. It's long been understood by me that was not an abortion law. It was a criminal law that if a child is killed in a car accident,
infanticide.
Yes. Yeah. Is there, should this be a criminal offense? And we have said yes in the state of Wisconsin, that when you are drunk driving and you kill a mother or a parent or another child, and the mother is pregnant and the child is 9 months and the child dies as a result, you can be charged with infanticide as well. So it was not in the context of even though the right seems to think it is, it's not. It was never in the context of abortion. And by the way, it was created at a time when women didn't even have the right to vote.
But then there's the additional case brought by Planned Parenthood to argue that abortion is a constitutional right according to the Wisconsin Constitution, which is because there's two cases, right?
Correct. And that is a novel issue, and that's one that should be resolved one way or the other. And I think they've been waiting to resolve both of those issues until they get the court the way they want it, which is now with a more liberal view on abortion.
So
and abortion
will we
rights.
see any other rulings of significance between now and August?
I don't think so. I think this is a lame duck court right now. Chief Justice, my dear friend and a mentor, Ann Walsh Bradley, is running the court. She's going to make some important decisions in terms of scheduling. She's going to run and make some important decisions about whether these cases should be as they were under Chief Justice Shirley Abramson, and what I always acted under, which is that they should be public. We should have telecasts of them on Wisconsin Eye. Chief Justice Rogensack had a different view of when their deliberations and things should be in the public eye or when they shouldn't. And so I think there are going to be some administrative changes under Chief Justice Ann Walsh Bradley in her very short term, and some scheduling changes. And that's what she's going to use and to set it up so that they can be more efficient and more public and transparent about their decision making. So in terms of substantive cases coming down, no, I don't see. I think we're going to have as is the Supreme Court of the United States, a very, very busy fall. September, October, November are going to be incredibly busy with these cases being resolved.
All right, we got a few more minutes left with retired Milwaukee County Judge Mary Kuhnmensch, Kristin and Steve. Point taken on 620 WTMJ.
Welcome to The Knowledge Brokers, our weekly feature covering the dynamics of the insurance market, how it affects Wisconsin businesses and residents. Sponsored by the original Knowledge Broker, R&R Insurance. Joining us today, Jeff Salazinski, Vice President of Insurance Operations. Jeff, some mixed signals out there relative to the cost of insurance. I mean, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. So explain to all of us, help us make sense of this marketplace.
Sure, Vince. Thanks. Great to be here again. The insurance market's showing divergent signals today, no doubt. Let me explain what's driving this. Some lines of insurance are performing well, others not so much. There's a whole variety of reasons behind it. Let's break it down. The good news first. For many buyers of property insurance, cybercrime, and workers' compensation, they're seeing price decreases over last year. Multiple years of rate increases in property are improving results. More companies are writing cyber insurance. For workers' compensation, the positive results just continue to come in. So let's talk about the not-so-good news. Auto insurance, general liability, and umbrella insurance are all trending higher than last year, largely because of attorney advertising and third-party litigation funding driving higher costs.
So can a market like this, Jeff, present an opportunity?
Vince, it's important you work with a partner that knows how to identify these opportunities, capitalize on them, and place you with an insurance company that best fits your needs.
So why should a business or a family work with R&R Insurance?
At R&R Insurance, we understand complex, dynamic market conditions. We understand how to present your account to an underwriter in the most favorable light. And R&R Insurance has been helping clients for almost 50 years. If you're looking for a better insurance purchasing experience, we'd love to sit down and talk with you. At R&R Insurance, we know business insurance.
That's Jeff from R&R Insurance. Thanks, Jeff. Learn more at myknowledgebroker.com.
Nobody loves a deal more than Dad, so make him proud and shop Fleet Farm for his Father's Day gifts at the best prices guaranteed. Like a Charbroil 3-burner gas grill for just $149.99. Or how about a Craftsman V20 half-inch cordless drill driver kit for $49. And whether he's grilling or drilling, help him look good with Carhartt Force tees for 25% off. For more of the hottest Father's Day deals, stop by your local Fleet Farm or check out our latest weekly ad at fleetfarm.com.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves with Active Liver from New Nordic. Find in stores at your local CVS, Meijer, Grocery, Amazon, or newnordicusa.com.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
While our NL Central phone may be seeing red.
That light! Oh, the red. Yeah, it's a chicken roaster sign.
Just wait till we put your bats to bed.
2 balls and 2 strikes on McCutchen. The pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
It's the Brewers headed to Cincinnati to take on the Reds.
Abner Uribe, the Cowboy.
Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 5:35. We are the home of the Brewers. WTMJ. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
All right, we only have a couple minutes left with retired Circuit Court Judge Mary Kuhn-Mensch. It always goes so fast when you're here. All right, white lady to white lady. Is there just an over-representation of white lady judges in Wisconsin? Because we have another white woman who has announced that she will be running for the Wisconsin Supreme Court next spring, Judge Chris Taylor. And, this is just the book club everyone wants to be in.
Only it's the Supreme Court of the state of Wisconsin.
Exactly.
We're not reading Huckleberry Finn here.
But I'll ask this, because we don't have a lot of time. I will say, she announced, and almost immediately the liberal justices on the Wisconsin Supreme Court endorsed her.
Seems like it was sort of pre-planned, maybe?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Think it was orchestrated a little bit? Is that what you're trying to...
The nomenclature that the kids use, it gave me the ick a little bit as far as how quickly it was just like, oh, this is just predetermined. We're not going to wait for any other candidates to announce that they're running, and it's
isn't that what's wrong with all of our politics? And isn't that what's wrong so much so that young people, millennials and Gen Z are saying, this two-party system just isn't working, and
so it also
we're being
gave you
played.
the ick? Is that what you're saying?
I would say that there should be more diversity on the Supreme Court because the more diversity you have in
How
terms
about some
of
men?
Well, I was going to say in terms of gender,
How about some
in
people of color,
in terms of people of color, in terms of age. I think that there used to be a really good mix. And that is helpful in terms of people having discussions that bring in a lot of different perspectives of the law so that you can come up with decisions that are, I think, more applicable and more usable and more understandable by the vast majority of people that now have to live under those rules. So, yeah, diversity, that's an example where I think the right and the left are getting it wrong. Diversity is a good thing, not only in terms of how we treat people, but also in terms of what we have in terms of decision making. How people come to decisions when you're only hearing from the same types of people with the same type of background. Common sense tells you that. So do I think that it's too predetermined? Yes. Do I think it's like what we're doing at the national level with presidential elections? Yeah. That's why you have people saying, you got to be kidding me. 300 million people in this country, and Joe Biden or Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are the best people to be running this country. It's turning people off, particularly young people. And we may end up becoming a country that runs by parliamentary where we have more than two parties. It may be going that way. So when you stick with this predetermined nature and you say that we're the ones that in back rooms are going to decide, smoke-filled back rooms, the politicians are deciding who are going to lead us, who are going to be offered to the public for choices. I think that's also that time has come and gone, and we need to bring things and let people out who want to run. If you're a judge in Dane County right now or up in Oneida County or in Rock County and you want to run against Chris Taylor or against any number of Rebecca Bradley, then run. And don't let the powers that be dictate it to you.
Mary Kuhnmens, and great text to edit on. 2 hours of more of Mary, please. I get smarter every minute she is on the air. That's a good one.
Well, it's SCOTUS season, so
Yes.
we'll have to have you back as some of these Supreme Court June rulings come out.
All right, news is next on 620 WTMJ.
It's the biggest door in your house. Time to give it the attention it deserves. Vince Vitrano here talking about Lifetime Door Company in Brookfield. Updating your garage door increases the value of your home. It's the first thing people see, and it's the best return for your money on investment. At Lifetime Door, if you have an emergency, they'll come out 7 days a week to service existing garage doors and openers. 5% off any service or install at Lifetime Door Company in Brookfield. Get started now, 262-783-4004, lifetimedoor.net.
For those with a warm weather fashion passion, try St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, because that's where you'll find a vast array of men's, women's, girls, and boys' warm weather apparel at the friendliest prices. So many choices, and at such a value. You can fill the closet without draining your wallet. Shop warm weather fashions at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
This change has leveled us up while being able to maintain the same quality of service that we've always provided, with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission. We're proud to be part of the Century 21 family, so you can move fearlessly with the added confidence of top-of-the-line marketing for maximum home exposure. And that means more eyeballs and the real potential for the highest price for your home. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Want to stay up to date with the crew?
Christian Yelich just keeps on doing it. That was a bomb of epic proportions.
Tune in to Brewers Extra Innings with Dominic Cotroneo after every game.
With Yelich in the middle of this, it feels like a big league dangerous lineup. I got to avoid having base runners on for that guy, and that guy is Christian Yelich.
Or listen anytime on the Brewers All Access podcast feed. We are your home of the Brewers. WTMJ.
Built Right. One location saves you money.
Gotta get to Built Right today.
Back on the road again. The Brewers head to Cincinnati to take on the Reds.
Watching it sail, it's a grand slam! Oh my goodness, Christian Yelich!
Our coverage of Brewers Reds starts tonight at 5:35. We are the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
At 11 o'clock, it's 73 degrees. Today, breezy, warm, humid. As the afternoon turns to evening, rain is going to come. Storms are likely tonight, a high of 83, wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm John Mercure. Testimony continuing in day 6 of the Maxwell Anderson murder trial. 34-year-old Anderson accused of killing and dismembering 19-year-old Sade Robinson in April. Milwaukee County detectives this morning reviewed surveillance footage of Anderson and Robinson during their date at Duke's on Water. The video is believed to be the last known footage showing Robinson alive. We will have extensive coverage of the trial throughout the afternoon here on WTMJ. Defense attorney Julius Kim is following that trial and tells Wisconsin's Afternoon News what stood out during testimony from the Milwaukee County Assistant Medical Examiner yesterday.
And what she painted was a picture of a very, very, vicious, violent manner in which these body parts were dismembered. I mean, she's talking about snapping femurs and breaking bones, which take a lot of pressure to do. So it just kind of talked about just how brutal of a dismembering this was.
Julius Kim will join Wisconsin's Afternoon News live at 3:45 today. A convicted felon admits to falsifying a threat to President Trump to get the victim in his case deported.
3 letters written in English were sent to the Wisconsin Attorney General, Milwaukee's police chief, and Milwaukee's ICE office. They were addressed from Ramon Morales Reyes, an undocumented crime victim who cannot speak or write English. He's the victim of a robbery and aggravated battery by 52-year-old Demetric Scott. A criminal complaint details calls that Scott made from jail, where he's heard talking about sending the letters in hopes of preventing Morales Reyes from testifying against him. He now faces charges of identity theft and felony witness intimidation. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Morales Reyes is applying for a visa, but could still be deported. The president's higher tariffs on steel and aluminum imports, pushing them to 50%, are set to take effect tomorrow. ABC News senior political correspondent Rachel Scott says this comes as the White House is trying to work out trade deals with countries around the world.
The Trump administration is showing no signs of backing off of these steep and sweeping tariffs, even amid all of these court challenges, arguing that it is disrupting ongoing negotiations. So about 60 days into this trade war now, the U.S. has only announced a deal with one country, the U.K.
Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the green. The NASDAQ right now is up 158 points. That's 0.8%. The Dow is up 144. That's 0.33%. And the S&P 500 is up 30 points. That is 0.5%. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather up next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:03. This Friday, you need to check out a webinar I'm co-hosting with Annex Wealth Management's chief economist, Brian Jacobson. Don't miss it this Friday, June 6th at 9 a.m. for an instant insight after the jobs report is released. Brian and I will provide you with all you need to know. We'll share instant analysis on breaking financial and market news. Visit WTMJ.com and click the Instant Insight Register Now button or check out events at annexwealth.com. That's this Friday, June 6th at 9 a.m. with me, John Mercure, and Brian Jacobson. Register today.
Hey there, Brewers fans. We've got a new way for you to watch the Brew Crew this season. FanDuel Sports Network. And now there are more ways to watch the Brewers than ever before. Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream all the action. Or, new this season, Brewers Baseball is now available on Amazon Prime Video as an add-on subscription. You can also access FanDuel Sports Network through TV providers, including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. Visit GetMyHomeTeams.com to learn more.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for Tri-County Contracting. You've heard about Tri-County Contracting and their worry-free roof tune-up. You've heard about their instant roof quote. But don't forget, Tri-County Contracting also handles windows. Our project at my home moving right along right now, and the process has been so easy and thorough. It's nice when you can trust the team you're working with and know that they are looking out for you. Tri-County Contracting, WI.com. It's worry-free roofing, siding, and also windows. Tri-County Contracting, WI.com.
From the biggest stars to the greatest moments, Behind the Bucks is Bucks history like you've never heard it before. Go behind the scenes of the Emmy-nominated Giannis documentary. Get the real story of the blockbuster trade for Damian Lillard. Hear the origin of Bucks in 6. It's all on Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus audio network, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Make it 8 in a row for the Milwaukee Brewers as they beat the Cincinnati Reds 3-2 last night. The Brewers are back in action for Game 2 against the Reds tonight. Coverage starts at 5:35 right here on WTMJ. Let's check those roads. A couple of little trouble spots. It's your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. I-43 southbound, make that 41, 41 southbound, a disabled vehicle at Hampton Avenue causing backups there. 794 right near Car Ferry Drive on the east side, expect lane closures due to a disabled vehicle there.
Traffic is sponsored by Capri Community's Enjoy Life Active Aging Symposium. Live life to the fullest at Capri's Enjoy Life Symposium on June 4th. This free event for older adults includes speakers, exhibitors, activities, and more. Register at enjoylifesymposium.com.
Today, breezy, warm, humid. Evening rain is possible, a high of 83 degrees. Tonight, stormy, rainy, a low of 56. Tomorrow, morning rain, then partly cloudy, a high of 64. Thursday, partly cloudy, a high of 77. Friday, slight chance for rain, 66. And Saturday, still cool for this time of year, partly cloudy, a high of 73 degrees. Right now in Madison, cloudy skies and 78. In Green Bay, cloudy 79. Here in Milwaukee, cloudy skies and 73 degrees. I'm John Mercure, Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 11:07.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
That's us. That's the cue. Hey, but here, before you get out of here.
Yes.
I know you're 58, not 68. Did you hear my early?
He was
Did you say I look good for 68?
I said you look damn good for 68.
Which you would if you were 68.
But I'm not.
But you're not.
Actually,
how do I look for 58?
You could actually pass for in your 40s. So good
That's
job.
Nice of you to say
good job
that.
you.
You've inspired me, actually. I saw you this morning, and I said, I'm back on my routine because I want to slim down a little bit like you have.
Look at the competition between us.
You and I are both very competitive.
We
that
are.
Would be good. That would be good.
So what do you do for your birthday? Anything fun or?
No.
No?
I'm going
Just
1,000 miles an hour all the time, so tonight it's quiet. It's nothing. I said, please, can we plan nothing? So maybe grill out, maybe
not a
watch
drink of the week
Netflix.
or anything?
I don't think so. No, that's part of my new routine. I'm trying not to drink during the week.
I'm also trying to not drink during the week.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not signing up for that nonsense.
What's going on in the world, that's a pretty hard sign up. Yeah.
All right, happy birthday, my friend.
I appreciate that, you guys.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks for
Do
the
you think
news
Julia
update
has
as well.
something planned for your big day?
Oh, yeah.
Where do we
Is there
begin?
like an
Yes.
acapella group
She
coming
already
in?
brought me in like a wagon full of gifts.
Oh, wow.
that is
she's,
nice.
She's a very sweet girl.
I'll have to tell her when my birthday is.
Yeah, for sure. See you at 11:30.
All right. Thank you, John McCure.
All right. So
We got totally off track. now.
Totally off track, but that's okay. We keep it loose.
We're gonna
Keep it
move
fun.
through a lot of stuff.
We have a
this
lot.
hour.
We have a lot of different topics to go through. Kind of quick hitters. So the first one is, how are you feeling right now? If you live in the hurricane area of the country,
Crappy.
Are you nervous? Do you feel like there might be a little squeamish, especially when you think about what the hurricane season was last year? Because, and this is kind of just the headline, because was it a joke? Was it not a joke? But it's more of who is at FEMA right now that would get me worried if I lived in Florida or Georgia or Houston or South Carolina, because apparently the Department of Homeland Security, which includes FEMA, the guy who is the like he's just the acting head of it right now of FEMA, right?
Dave Richardson?
David Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently he, at a staff meeting, said that he didn't know that the United States had a hurricane season.
Now, I think it was a joke. A
So
bad
that's what
joke.
they're saying, that it was a joke, but there was staff who was at the meeting, and they were caught off guard and left a little bewildered when he said that, and obviously it got out to it was an internal meeting, right? And there was obviously enough people who were a little worried about it that they told some reporters that they don't know if he was joking or not. But, for the people, there's more than half a dozen of FEMA's key roles right now have all been appointed by the Trump administration. David Richardson specifically has been on record saying he will steamroll anyone who gets in way of President Trump's agenda for FEMA. But most of the people who have been put in place don't have a lot of experience handling disasters. And that's the part, whether he was joking or not about the hurricane season, it's more about, I feel like having experience is a really important thing when it comes to hurricane response, tornado response, earthquake response. Having done it before, that's something that I would make me feel a little bit better if the people in charge had.
Yeah, and then that's not even to mention all the insurance questions that are swirling around that southern part of the United States because of all the hurricanes we've had in the past few years. But this is part of this. This is, everyone gets mad when I mention Doge. This is part of that story, right? So they just slashed people, including FEMA, including NOAA, National Oceanic Atmospheric Association, and which is critical, by the way, in hurricane forecasting, weather forecasting, severe weather forecasting. And I'll say the same thing I always say. To indiscriminately cut positions, including leadership positions at FEMA, to replace them with Homeland Security people, which is a completely different animal, to use a really base term, than what these folks do, which is bottom line, protecting people, their homes, their safety, both on the front end when you're talking about NOAA or on the back end with FEMA. People rely on these agencies. Look, doesn't mean there's not fat. Every agency has fat. But to indiscriminately just slash people is not the way to do it.
Do you think FEMA had 30% fat on it?
No.
Because so roughly 10% of FEMA's total staff has left since January. And then the agency is projected to lose close to 30% of its workforce by the end of this year.
Yeah, the numbers are crazy.
So
26,000 to 18,000.
And so that just feels like when every year the increase of extreme weather, and if you want to say it's climate change or not, I don't care. The facts are the facts that every year we're having worse and worse storms or droughts or serious weather events that leave people homeless, kill people, hospitalize people, and leave infrastructure needing to be rebuilt. And this does not seem like where the projections of where weather events are going, the area where you want to cut resources.
Interesting point by the texter, Peter. President Trump's real agenda for FEMA, leave it to the states to pick up the slack.
But do the states have enough money to be able to do that?
No.
I mean, especially if you think about, what do we hear the most? Which states get the most federal dollars back versus what they pay in? Mostly southern red states, right? And so their ability to, and those are a lot of the states that get hit by, especially hurricane season. So their ability to bounce back from an event like this. I mean, how is North Carolina doing in like Appalachia and Asheville? Like, how are those places doing? What has it been? Not even a year yet? When will it be a year since that hurricane hit?
Well, hurricane season starts now.
No,
so.
I know, but when I'm trying to think back of last year when unexpected flooding happened in Asheville.
Yeah, surprise flooding, massive destruction. That stuff takes years, maybe decades to recover from. This is not a good development. As much as a lot of people, you could say the majority since Donald Trump won the presidency, support reducing the size of government, there are certain critical agencies where you got to really use a surgeon's sort of touch, not a hacksaw, and just cut off a whole leg of a department that is essential for people's health and safety. This is a dangerous one. And if Donald Trump wants to hold on to that majority that he thinks, or the mandate, which he always talks about, which wasn't really a mandate, this is the way you lose that. One, you start disappointing people when it comes to disaster relief, and two, as I said before, messing up their Social Security payments. You do that, you will lose people really, really quickly in this country. Number one of a very busy docket. See what I did there? I went back to the first hour. Kristin and Steve, Point Taken. Lots of stuff to talk about in this hour. Second hour of Point Taken PT on 620 WTMJ.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on June 17th.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes.
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Chicago Cubs.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Delta Dental of Wisconsin. Tune in June 17th at 7:05 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check out your local listings to watch the game.
Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi. And Loyal Family Renovations, they saved my day. Saved the day after all of us went through that brutal storm last year in Oak Creek and South Milwaukee, south side of Milwaukee. I had it bad. Jeff and Jake, a whole crew, absolute pros. Just had dinner with them recently. They made the entire process as smooth as possible. They worked with my insurance company. We're just talking about that on the show. Got me the most value and handled all the questions. Let's be honest, most of us aren't experts at insurance or the insurance adjuster relationship. Quick answers, top-notch customer service, and in 2 days, I had a brand new roof, and I had a hodgepodge of different ages as part of my roof structure. Cleaned it all up, even had a tool to pick up all those loose nails that fall off the roof. I was so impressed, I told my whole neighborhood about it. If storm damage hits you, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com today.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guest, Abby Home. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. Yet at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact NX Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at nxwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
The cars have changed since 1955, but the tradition rolls on at America's National Park of Speed, Road America. It's the 70th annual WeatherTech Chicago Region SCCA June Sprints, June 6th to the 8th. Everything from showroom stock to purpose-built race cars. If it's got 4 wheels, it's running at the June Sprints. It's an extra special 70th year for the summer tradition. Back at America's National Park of Speed, June 6th to the 8th. June Sprints at Road America. Details, tickets, and camping at roadamerica.com.
This always sounds like a commercial. I think some commercial uses this music. Someone tell me who that is on our text line, 855-616-1620. Useless information, but I want to know. And I know you guys have all the answers.
What commercial this song is in?
This music is played as the backdrop for a commercial. Very popular national commercial. I cannot think of who it is.
You sure you're just not making that up?
No.
Okay.
You think I make stuff up?
I mean, I think you jump to conclusions.
No,
sometimes.
it's the backdrop of a popular ad campaign.
Okay.
You doubt me?
Well, I think we could Google it. Jazz, you want to Google that?
Yeah.
Since you know what song it was? I don't know. I didn't recognize the song.
It's Galvanized by the Chemical Brothers, the one I just played.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just Google that.
See if
you stumble
it's in
upon.
a national commercial campaign.
So if I'm right, what do I get?
I do know it was in the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie, though.
An apology. How's that?
Like Joni Ernst?
Yes. Good segue. So this is, not everyone can be funny. Sometimes I think I'm funny, but I would never claim to be the funniest person I know.
My old boss says I'm never funny.
You can be funny. And I don't know. It's very confusing to me if this was the attempt at a joke or exactly what the angle was here. But, I think we all know we're going to die, right?
Pretty much.
There's some people out there who are really trying to go for the immortal thing. I have no interest in being immortal because you just watch all the people around you die. Yeah. But Iowa Senator Joni Ernst, last week, I think it was Friday, had a town hall, and there was, what we've seen at a lot of town halls, people upset about certain policy decisions that are being had.
Like Medicaid?
Like Medicaid. And so the Congressional Budget Office has projected that as is the current big, beautiful bill that came out of the House would basically leave about 7.8 million people without health care. There's other projections because there were some other talks as far as making it harder to stay on the ACA. So then there's other projections out there. It's like 10 million people. Regardless, by making it harder to stay on some of this healthcare options for low-income people, there's likely people who are going to lose health insurance. And so at this town hall, you can't really hear it because it's kind of far away, but there was someone who yelled out at the senator saying, people are going to die. And this was her response.
When you are arguing about illegals that are receiving Medicaid benefits, 1.4 million, 1.4, they are not eligible. So they will be coming off. So people are not, we all are going to die.
So we're all going to die.
Which is true.
But I don't know if that's the response when you're talking about caring about people and caring about your constituents and obviously having people there who are worried about people being kicked. Because we've talked about it a lot, right? There's something like 1 in 4 pregnancies and births are covered by Medicaid. Majority of people in nursing homes are covered by Medicaid. There's a lot of people who rely on it. Now, it would be one thing if it ended there, but the internet reacted, as the internet is wont to do. And her follow-up, the senator's follow-up was an interesting choice as a mock apology.
I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well. But for those that would like to see eternal and everlasting life, I encourage you to embrace my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
I love the message at the end, but...
Not only did she say this with her full chest on her social media channels and post it, she filmed it in a cemetery.
Yeah.
Like, it is, and I don't know if she's actually backtracked it even more, but there's nothing like saying, I care about your future while filming next to people who don't have one anymore to really get your message across.
Let me baseline it. She's being a smart aleck. There's a better word, but I'm not going to use it. That's what she's doing there. And she's
also up for re-election next year, which is an interesting...
Yeah, she's probably safe. But, I mean, she's being a smart you-know-what. And again, this is sort of the way that politics is conducted now, this sort of, mock your enemies or your political opponents. I don't like any of it. The fact that she's, here's the other part. The background to this is the Republican talking point on Medicaid is this. We're not taking your Medicaid if you're a citizen of the United States. We're saving the money from all the people who are getting it illegally. I'm still waiting for the numbers. Real numbers,
They're
not
throwing
just saying
out this
stuff.
1.4 because undocumented immigrants do not qualify for Medicaid. They pay into it.
Correct.
But they don't qualify for it.
So that's the talking point, which she brilliantly stated. I'm mocking her use of that phrase because that's just a talking point, and that's what Republicans are saying. Speaker Mike Johnson said it on the weekend shows this past weekend. I understand what you're trying to do here. Every department, again, I feel like I've said this a million times in the last few weeks, every department, every agency has some fat that could be trimmed. But when you have a real citizen at a real event asking a real question about their Medicaid or their assistance, I think you have to answer without being a snark or snarky way or being a condescending or mocking people as she did, because I think that was a definite attempt to mock people for what they think.
I would say yes.
Because you filmed it in a damn cemetery. And I would advise my Republican friends, be better at PR. You suck at it.
But the whole point of healthcare is to delay when you die.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, yes, we are all going to die, but we all hope to live as long as we can and be able to have and enjoy our life and not be living with any kind of disability or any long-term chronic illness and be able to access care so that we can actually enjoy our lives, but not have it bankrupt us.
But I do congratulate her on her celebration of her faith. That's always a good message. Quick break. Kristin and Steve on Point Taken.
Dan, what are you doing?
Taking a closet for a test drive.
A test drive?
Here at Inspired Closets, we have our own cutting-edge immersive design experience.
That's right. Envisioned by Inspired Closets uses AR technology that's sort of like test driving a car.
Virtually walk into your custom closet at scale before anything is even built.
You can even make changes in real time, so your environment will adapt to any design revisions you make in that moment.
Get started today at InspiredClosetsMilwaukee.com.
Inspired Closets, a wife and husband team.
The big focus in America today on your health. We're just talking about this. And you're determined, you are, to look beyond the pills and steroids and surgery to feel your best, right? Just had a texter ask me about this. So here you are. I want to talk to the people who are in pain right now. Or maybe it's someone you love, neighbor, friend. You've done everything they told you to do. The pain just comes back. You're exhausted, but don't give up. Hey, how about QC Kinetics? They are different. Not the quick fixes. This is a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. You'll meet face-to-face with their experts. I'm meeting with Dr. Ashley Caravelli in a couple weeks, and their team. They'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your body's own healing power and helps them restore your damaged tissue. These are well-respected protocols, include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments. QC Kinetics has helped tens of thousands of people, so many of them right here in Milwaukee. They're going to help me as well. They'd be honored to help you. No masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. Find out if you're a good candidate. I'm talking to you, texter. Here's what you got to do. Free consultation, free appointment, QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. One more time, 414-285-3474.
Music director Ken David Mazur leads the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra in a gorgeous double bill June 6th and 7th at the Bradley Symphony Center. Concerts will open with Pulitzer Prize-winning composer Aaron J. Kernis's evocative cello concerto, Colored Field. MSO Principal Cello Susan Babini will be the soloist in this work, which was inspired by a visit to a former concentration camp from World War II. The second half of the concert features the Symphony No. 1 by Brahms, a piece that took nearly 20 years to complete as the composer attempted to shake off the looming specter of Beethoven. The result is a brilliant and original first step into the genre, though careful listeners will detect a nod to Beethoven's famous Ode to Joy. Mazur conducts Brahms June 6th and 7th at the Bradley Symphony Center. Visit MSO.org for tickets and more information, or call the box office now at 414-291-7605.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Oh, Cars. They were hot when I was in college.
This is Gary Newman.
Oh, is it Gary Newman? I was going to say, I was hearing Cars. I was thinking of the Cars. Rick Ocasek and the Cars.
Like the group. I thought you meant Cars in general were hot when you were in college.
They were.
Are they not hot now?
I don't know. In the same way? I don't know.
I mean, I'm not a car person, so I'm not
really
right
either.
person to ask.
All right, real quick. We only have a couple minutes before the break. I'm fascinated by this because in many places around the country, there are now taxis and services where you get in, you request, your ride, and there's no driver. Mm-hmm. Isn't that amazing?
My brother's been in LA for most of this year, and so he almost everywhere he goes, because he doesn't have a car out there, he's been taking Waymo. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Which is the Alphabet, which owns Google, their driverless car. So it has now become. There's been 10 million driverless rides through this company.
I feel like they've taken the next step. It's working.
How would you feel if you ordered a car and it showed up and no one was in it? Would you be skeptical? Would you?
Oh, first time, definitely. Yeah.
It would weird me out.
Where's the damn driver at?
Yeah, so it's basically Waymo's passed 10 million paid driverless rides. It's poised to see 20 plus million by the end of this year. And so it's in LA, it's in San Francisco. I don't know when it's coming to Wisconsin. I would imagine we're
low on the
list. But it's more of just, and maybe this is because I've been back for too long already, but I don't know. My brother loves it. So I guess word of mouth as far as people vetting this and saying it's great, but just another piece of AI and technology that's going to leave people without jobs potentially.
Put me in the category. I'd love to see someone do that in Milwaukee. Just experience what that would be like. Let's do it.
What?
What do you need? A couple cars, and how much those cars cost? So you wouldn't?
I guess I would, just because I know people who have taken it. Like 10 million.
You're cautious.
For 10 million driverless rides to not have more issues arise so far, I feel like that's okay. But it still feels weird.
All your texters, if we had in Milwaukee, would you ride in a driverless vehicle? If we had it. And maybe we will in the near future. So we got lots more to talk about, including the idea of no state income tax and what that means across the board.
Especially for athletes.
Pro athletes. We got local news with the one and only John McCure. Happy birthday to him. Here's the latest now from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. An undocumented migrant arrested and accused of threatening to assassinate President Trump may have been set up.
The case involves a 54-year-old Mexican man who is said to have sent handwritten letters threatening to kill the president. The Homeland Security Secretary heralded his arrest. Now Wisconsin officials say that man, Ramon Morales Reyes, was himself a victim of a setup. Noting he can't speak or write English, they've now charged a Milwaukee inmate who had already been accused of assaulting Morales Reyes and stealing his bike with sending the letters to prevent him from testifying at trial this summer. That inmate, Demetric Deshaun Scott, now faces witness intimidation counts.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. Senate lawmakers continue debating the GOP reconciliation bill. President Trump criticizing some hardline and fiscal conservatives on social media posts who could hold up the bill's passage. Newark's Mayor Ross Baraka filing a lawsuit against New Jersey interim U.S. Attorney Alina Habba following his arrest at an immigration detention facility. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:31. I'm John Mercure. Testimony continuing at this hour in the Maxwell Anderson murder trial. The 34-year-old is accused of killing and dismembering 19-year-old Sade Robinson in last April. Milwaukee County detectives this morning reviewing surveillance footage of Anderson and Robinson during their date at Duke's on Water. The video is believed to be the last known footage showing Robinson alive. The man charged in connection to a deadly wrong-way driving crash on I-43 on Memorial Day is now in custody. 34-year-old Ace Vu faces 2 counts of first-degree reckless homicide. Nicole and Jerry Horn died at the crash scene after Vu struck their car near Port Washington. Their daughter was injured but is expected to survive. And if you have respiratory issues, you might want to limit your time outside because of wildfire smoke. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources recommending reducing time outdoors today and tomorrow. Smoke moving from the northwest to the southeast across our state throughout the day. An air quality advisory will be extended to the full state starting at noon, and it goes until noon tomorrow. Time for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the green. The NASDAQ is up 192. That's 1 full percent. The S&P is up 65% or 38 points. And the Dow is up 199. That is 0.5%. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. All right, let's check those roads. A little bit of tight congestion in the metro area. One real incident, I-94 westbound 1 mile past County Line SS. The right shoulder and right lane blocked due to a disabled vehicle. The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, breezy, warm, humid. The rain moves in this evening. Overnight could get some thunderstorms, a high of 83 during the day. Tonight, a low of 56. Tomorrow, morning rain, a high of 64. Thursday, partly cloudy, a high of 77 inland. On Friday, partly cloudy, 66. On Saturday, partly cloudy, a high of 68 degrees. Right now in Madison, it is cloudy and 78 degrees. In Green Bay, cloudy and 79. In Milwaukee, cloud cover and 74 degrees. I'm John Mercure, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:33. This Friday, you need to check out a webinar I'm co-hosting with Annex Wealth Management's Chief Economist, Brian Jacobson. Don't miss it this Friday, June 6th at 9 a.m. for an instant insight after the jobs report is released. Brian and I will provide you with all you need to know. We'll share instant analysis on breaking financial and market news. Visit WTMJ.com and click the Instant Insight Register Now button or check out events at annexwealth.com. That's this Friday, June 6th at 9 a.m. with me, John Mercure, and Brian Jacobson. Register today.
Let us help you love where you live with new siding from Abbey Home. We can completely transform the entire look of your home and make your house the talk of the town. Our insulated siding is actually a pre-engineered wall system. With 25% of your home being uninsulated studs, adding insulated siding is a huge energy saver. Let's make your house look brand new and save on your energy bills. Right now, get no interest, no payments for 24 months from Abbey Home. If somebody asks you if you know a guy in the business, you can say no, but I know a girl.
Save on the best quality furniture and mattresses during the Memorial Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture. With major discounts from our premier suppliers, you will save big bucks on top brands like Bradington Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradington Young is known for its fine quality leather upholstery. Fjords brings you modern Scandinavian designed recliners and sofas, ergonomically engineered for more hip and back support. Norwalk, with American roots that go back over 100 years, specializes in making furniture just for you. Choose the piece, style, fabric, or leather you want, and in just 35 days, we'll deliver your new sofa, chair, or sectional. In stock or special orders are all sale priced. Need a little help putting it all together? At Ken Michaels Furniture, our design staff is ready to help you with your purchases, and it's free. Stop in today and save during our Memorial Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture on Capitol Drive in Brookfield, Highway 100 in Greenfield, or our downtown Mattress Factory showroom.
This is going to be interesting to try to focus while there's a drill happening in the background or a very loud bumblebee's nest.
It sounds like someone's trying to drill through the ceiling of this studio, right?
It is something.
Maybe it's not as bad as we think.
Let us know, 855-616-1620. Can you hear the slight buzz of a buzzsaw behind us? Anyways, in the meantime, I thought this was really interesting because I've literally never heard this as a potential reason why athletes, especially free agent athletes, maybe choose where they decide what team they want to play for.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you follow hockey much?
I know who's playing Edmonton and Florida, yeah.
I think hockey is an unbelievable sport. I don't know much about it. I don't follow it that close. It's a very tough sport.
Great sport.
So, for the 6th consecutive year, the Stanley Cup final features a team from a state without an income tax. So the defending champion, Florida Panthers, they're back in the final. And now people are wondering if franchises in income tax-free states have an unfair advantage in their ability to attract high-priced free agents who may be looking to keep more of their salaries out of Uncle Sam's pockets while staying in compliance with the NHL's salary cap. Do you think this is a real thing?
No, I think it's a coincidence. I mean, I do know that in the NBA, I've heard this story before.
You have?
Yeah, that some players looked at that when they were thinking about their total compensation package and the fact that in some places like Florida and other states, there is no state income tax, and Florida is certainly in play here with the Panthers. I suppose if you're making, especially in some of these sports, you're making like $300 million contracts.
Some of that. Maybe this is the same thing when you think about the Astros and how Texas is some of the Texas teams. I mean, right? The Astros have been the World Series a handful of times in the last decade.
Although if you look at last year, the Eagles won. They have taxes, state taxes.
The Super Bowl.
Yeah. Then the Dodgers win the World Series.
Yeah.
California.
And against New York, so the two highest state income taxes in the country.
So I don't know.
I feel like this is a little soft.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the rules are different for hockey, where this would be.
Well, also baseball doesn't have a salary cap.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, as far as this being a reason why athletes would choose where they decide to go versus who else is on the team, the likelihood of winning a championship, total compensation package, which I guess income tax is part of the total compensation package.
It's one part of many parts to
Yeah.
why you go somewhere. You're not going to go to a team that's a place that sucks just because they have no state income tax.
There's also management. Like, the Cowboys are in Texas, and Jerry Jones can't get them up past the wild card round.
Yeah, good point. And let's be honest, these are the same two teams from last year. They have some talent on that team. Now, whether it's related to income tax, I don't think so. But also put me in and you and I were talking a little bit during the break. I like the fact that states make themselves more competitive by not having state income tax. Now, the big question is, how do you pay for stuff? There are many, many ways to do that. But here's the easy answer. It's just other taxes. You distribute it in different ways.
You still end up, the only state that has no income tax and not like a significantly higher sales tax is Alaska.
Yeah.
And it's basically because they tax the heck out of oil and gas companies.
I know New Hampshire also, I think, doesn't have any state sales tax, too.
New Hampshire has, they have no income tax. So, yeah, and I don't know what their sales tax.
I think they have either very low or none, and that's a big reason why you see all these big stores there, apparently, because I used to go out east for work. So there are ways you can do that. I would love to see us figure out a way in Wisconsin to make all taxes more equitable, because what do we complain about here? Property taxes, right? People always...
Well, especially in Milwaukee.
Yeah. So figure that out, and we're probably long past overdue to sort of reclassify how we... figure all the tax tables out in the state of Wisconsin, even though they've tweaked it and changed the brackets and all that stuff. We just got to be smarter on this stuff.
Do you really think, because I know that there's obviously a lot of people who argue that if we got rid of the income tax in Wisconsin, so when we think about the states that don't have income tax, so there's Florida, Texas, where did I see this? Florida, Texas, Washington, Nevada, Wyoming, South Dakota.
Yeah, there's more and more that are signing
Tennessee. Florida.
Yep.
And New Hampshire, Alaska.
Yeah.
I think I got everything.
That's a big list.
And also a very different types of lists, right?
All kinds of states in there. Both left and right. It'd be interesting to see how this has worked for South Dakota. Because I would say there's a lot more appealing to me. There's a lot more appealing about South Dakota, about Wisconsin than South Dakota as far as trying to incentivize people to move here. Personally, I'm very biased, but I probably make the argument a lot better to move to Wisconsin than you getting me to move to South Dakota. Unless you want to live off the grid, then you go to South Dakota.
But with our weather, with certain, I think how people, the general idea of people who don't know Wisconsin, when they think about Wisconsin, what the stereotypes are, like would no income tax in Wisconsin be enough to incentivize, a lot of immigration into our state?
Maybe not just that. I think it would do a little bit of that. Keeping people here. All those snowbirds that basically live in Florida 6 months.
But aren't they living in Florida because of the weather?
That's part of it, but also don't discount the impact of state income tax. People think about that stuff in their decision making. I think it's something we should talk about. Let's have the conversation. Let's reclassify our tax across the board, all of our taxes, property tax, income tax, sales tax, marijuana tax, if we ever have that. Because we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Are we talking about it next?
Yeah.
The increase of your age?
I am not
wanting to
put me in the not shocked about this.
Light up a doobie?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Lighten it up in your senior years. I would qualify for that, but I'm not lighting it up. So we'll talk about it with Kristin and Steve Point Taken on 620 WTMJ next.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
A great way to add value and curb appeal to your home is with a new LiftMaster or CHI maintenance-free garage door. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. A study by Remodelers Magazine reports that the average return on investment is an amazing 82%. Garage doors rank first among all home improvement projects. To see Geis's huge selection of doors, visit their showroom in Brookfield, or you can also visit their online showroom at geisdoors.com. Geis has everything from alley doors to custom wood designer doors and everything in between. Remember, for all your garage door needs, you call Geis at 262-784-4250. That number again, 262-784-4250. It's Geis. Visit them online at geisdoors.com.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
An unsuspecting driver at a gas station in Wisconsin.
Welcome, Pump 15. How you doing?
Great.
Were you wearing your seatbelt today?
I never wear my seatbelt.
We're going to get him. We're going to get him real good.
Oh, my goodness.
Hello, sir. How you doing? Donald Driver. It takes 1 second to strap a seatbelt on. Well, let's do this. Let's do it together. Now, don't that feel better?
Donald Driver can't always be there to remind you.
Click it or ticket.
And let's reduce fatalities on Wisconsin roadways.
And I should have recognized your voice when you're harassing.
I'm watching you.
Sponsored by Wisconsin DOT.
This change has leveled us up while being able to maintain the same quality of service that we've always provided, with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission. We're proud to be part of the Century 21 family, so you can move fearlessly with the added confidence of top-of-the-line marketing for maximum home exposure. And that means more eyeballs and the real potential for the highest price for your home. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. With the ability to market luxury homes on a higher scale than ever before, Century 21 Benefit Realty has taken a huge step forward to tap into a global network of buyers. Maximum exposure to spotlight your unique home with our fine homes and estates marketing so you can sell it for the highest price. And with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission, you win. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
The Brewers Radio Network salutes all those who serve or have served our country.
This is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. I want to honor my father Dominic and my brother Dave. My father Dominic served in the U.S. Air Force, and brother Dave served in the Southern United States as an air traffic controller for the U.S. Navy. Thanks for all you did for our country and for our family. Appreciate you. Love you both. Thanks for your service.
Salute the Troops is sponsored by Discount Liquor, Mission 94 Firearms Education Center, and Great Midwest Bank.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
I'm Brett Matchke, and you're due for service.
Richlands.
As somebody who smoked marijuana in high school, this is up close and
Not
personal.
college?
A little bit in college, too.
Mostly in high school, though?
Yeah, mostly in high school and college.
I feel like the weed was probably a lot weaker then.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think it's been documented that the weed products over time have gotten way stronger than they used to be.
Well, we could spend an hour talking about the quality.
I don't know how
of
we
weed.
would compare it, but I'm sure
Anecdotal
there's someone who was maybe smoking then and still smoking now that could give us more evidence of that.
So why we're talking about this is there's now research that says older Americans are they're tapping into the marijuana culture. The use is increasing. 65 and older surge, get this number. This is right from Axios. Surged 46%. Not 6. 46% from 2021 to 2023. That's a bodacious increase.
Mm-hmm. Well, so it's got to be because there's more and more states where it's legal.
Yes.
But I also think there's something to be said as far as the vice and weed affects everyone differently and how you ingest it, whether you smoke it or take an edible.
Gummies.
I guess you can drink it now too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things.
In beer and stuff?
How it affects you. There's now different strains of marijuana. But for a lot of people, like I have friends with small children. I have a small child, but I have, before we had Frankie, I had friends with small children who said, just you wait, like being hungover with small children, not very fun. But if you pop a 5 or 10 milligram gummy, you're not really hungover the next day. You still get a little bit of a release. And so like different options as far as, relaxing at the end of the day.
So how are they getting their hands on these gummies?
Well, these people live in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
But there's also a bunch of, Delta 8. This is the whole thing with Delta 8 in this state that is so wild to me because we are, when it comes to the CBD and Delta 8 and what happened in the hemp bill in 2018, and this huge loophole became available for hemp farmers to grow and then make their own gummies. And there's literally zero regulation. Other states have started to regulate Delta 8 a little bit more. But here we have some of the strictest laws, if not the strictest laws on, we have zero medical marijuana. We have zero recreational marijuana. We have decriminalized it in most of the bigger cities in Wisconsin. And yet we are also one of the states that has literally zero regulation on Delta 8. And so it feels like this impasse between, I think there is starting to be more of an appetite to regulate Delta 8 because with zero regulation, people are having like psychosis issues as far as you can just buy it. There's like very little regulation on how old you have to be to buy it. It's up to the vendors and the gas stations that are selling it on who they want to sell it to. So, but I feel like from the Democrats' point of view, it's a bargaining chip to have any regulation on Delta 8. We have to at least have the conversation about marijuana. And obviously we know where Republicans in Wisconsin have been on marijuana this whole time.
Yeah, hard pass. Speaker Robin Voss, including him. I think adults, especially senior adults, are sort of accepting this as an alternative treatment, especially those with have chronic pain. Mm-hmm. And maybe they don't want to get a new replacement. Sleep better, more calm. You mentioned the hangover thing. One of the texters said it's an alternative to alcohol. I would say that's probably true. And here's the thing, and I've made this point many times. We're surrounded by it. Canada, Minnesota, Illinois, Michigan. It's all around us.
And I think Iowa has medical marijuana.
Yeah, I believe you're right. And as this is sort of anecdotal, but I believe it, if you go to Illinois, which I know people that drive to Illinois to buy marijuana and then bring it back, which last time I checked is not allowed, but people do it anyway. And there's no enforcement whatsoever, as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong, law enforcement folks, but I don't think there is. Those parking lots jammed down there with Wisconsinites who are saying, you know what? I don't care if they do anything in Wisconsin. I'll just go buy it down there. It's not a long ride if you're in southern Wisconsin to get to Illinois.
Wisconsin Policy Forum did something about this. It's something like 75% of Wisconsin's population lives within an hour of a nearby cannabis distributor.
Dane County, Milwaukee County, there's a lot of people there. And then all the surrounding areas, the suburbs. Easy ride. I was in Illinois 3 times in the last 5 days.
So basically, if you're in like Wausau, you're screwed. You're far from your options, but that's about it.
They're probably growing their own up in Wausau. Let's be honest. There's a lot of open land up there. You got a little hunting piece. Throw some seeds in there. Yeah, whatever.
Did you ever grow your own marijuana?
No.
Why'd you stop? Would you go back?
No, I'm not really interested in that.
Why?
I don't need it.
You just don't feel like it.
I'm generally calm.
The vibe it gives you is you're not interested anymore?
I enjoyed it. There was no bad experiences. I'm not interested now.
Okay. You just want your red wine and your cigar?
I'm high on life, red wine, and cigars. That's exactly right.
All right.
She's Kristin. I'm Steve Pointaken. We'll wrap this sucker after this on 620 WTMJ.
At Erickson's Landscape Supply, we have durable, maintenance-free polywood patio furniture and #1 grade treated natural pine Amish-made patio furniture. And we also have a wonderful assortment of concrete benches, statues, and fountains available in a selection you just gotta see to believe. Erickson's Landscape Supply, high-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less, plus a whole lot more. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection or stop on in today. He told us to load 4 yards into his 8-foot bed, but we knew that 3 full, honestly measured yards were going to fill his truck bed to the rim. After we proved that, He told us the other guys have been telling him he's been getting 4 yards in there for years. Honest measurements and honest folks who just want to do you right. So you come back. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
Hey, it's WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Advent. I never get talking about Advent because they changed my life. I think it can change yours as well. I did something about the poor sleep, the tossing and turning, all the restless sleep, keeping my poor wife Kathy up at night. I did something about it. I went to Advent and asked the questions. That's where you start. You go talk to them. They'll put you at ease. They will answer all your questions. Now, everybody's different problems, different solutions. But mine is a common one. Sinuses and nasal passages. Lots of people suffer from that, and it causes the snoring issues and all the other things that we all deal with every night. They did a short procedure in one of their offices. Since that moment 5 years ago, breathing better than ever, sleeping through the whole night. That's worth the price of admission. If you struggle like I used to, take the time to see how Advent can help you to find out breathing well and sleeping well, more importantly, can make your nights better. Go to adventknows.com, schedule an appointment today, because Advent knows when you live well, when you breathe well, rather, you live better.
Lake Geneva. It's where families have been making memories around the water for generations. Lakeside resorts and spas, award-winning restaurants, and charming shops are just the beginning of an unforgettable summer getaway. Lake cruises, boating, and beach lounging let you soak up the sun, water, and family time. Hike a lakeshore path, stargaze from an iconic observatory, or soar above it all in a hot air balloon. Go ziplining, visit an animal safari, or see dancing horses. Start making your memories today at visitlakegeneva.com.
For WTMJ contest rules, visit WTMJ.com/contests.
This Friday, you need to check out a webinar I'm co-hosting with Annex Wealth Management's Chief Economist, Brian Jacobson. Don't miss it this Friday, June 6th at 9 a.m. for an instant insight after the jobs report is released. Brian and I will provide you with all you need to know. We'll share instant analysis on breaking financial and market news. Visit WTMJ.com and click the Instant Insight Register Now button, or check out events at annexwealth.com. That's this Friday, June 6th at 9 a.m. with me, John Mercure, and Brian Jacobson. Register today.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Hey, don't forget, I've been making this point. I just had an update from Rose Brey. We are getting closer and closer to being sold out for her Hawaii trip. So if you want to go, do not wait. 866-GO-FOX-GO. Best of the Hawaiian Islands with yours truly.
Didn't you say Mary's going to go?
Mary and her husband are thinking about it, yeah. And there's a couple other people that I know. So to all those folks, Mary and otherwise, do not wait. We are very, very close, and I'm getting daily updates from the awesome Rose Gray at Fox Road Travel. It's going to be a great trip. We're going to do, Hawaii and Maui and Oahu, all the cool, fun stuff, but also the solemn place that is Pearl Harbor. And that's always one of the things I want to do on trips is to go to those types of places, sort of honor those individuals in that case that lost their lives in defense of our country. All part of this great trip, November 9th, 2026 through November 19th. We will be back in time for deer hunting if that's your concern. I will be back and deer hunting. But join us. It is a fun trip filled with a lot of cool stuff, luau's, and I'm getting a tattoo on the trip. I'm still working on that design. I need a graphic designer, though. I'm getting close to what I want. I just have to have someone put it together. So if you're a graphic designer, reach out to me. I can't pay you, but I'll give you something fun, whatever. Bottle of wine or something. Just a side gig, a side hustle,
You can't pay them?
No, I don't think I can because it's part of the trip.
Legally?
Yeah, I think I'd get in trouble for that. But anyway, we'll do it as a side hustle, side gig, whatever. A lot of people making this point about THC content that it's gone up significantly since the days.
Yeah, you seem very skeptical about that.
I want to see. I gotta look it up. I'm intrigued by it.
Someone sent a screenshot in.
It's one screenshot.
So wait, why are you so skeptical about this? Because you want to believe what you had was like
the
very
best
pure,
ever?
and
the best ever.
You think in Wisconsin in the 1970s, you guys were getting some really grade A hash.
Dazed and Confused. A great movie, by the way.
It is a great movie. Yeah. I recently saw. So when that came out, I think Dazed and Confused came out in like '93, and so for the difference. The time difference of when the movie came out versus what era it was depicting, it would have been the same had the graduates of 2006, which is 2 years younger than me, made a movie about 1993.
What happened in '93?
Nirvana?
Oh, yeah.
Right? I don't know. That's like a grungy.
Yeah, the grunge movement.
It's like the Gen X. The Gen X was mostly in high school.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
All right. You got anything else?
Since when did we get play-out music? So they're like taking us... You guys have had enough time? We're going to walk you out with a little quiet...
All right. Well, tomorrow we got another short show.
Yeah, only an hour, right?
Yeah. So the Brewers are playing early tomorrow. We got Milwaukee County Executive. David Crowley will join us. We'll ask him if he's running... Maybe he has future plans. We'll probably get a politician answer, but that's okay.
He didn't get that degree for no reason.
And then ask us anything, because it's...
Wednesday? Hump Day!
Woo! All right. News is next.
I'm Jim Token, representing the Auto Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee. There are so many reasons to service your car or truck and buy your next vehicle at one of the 115 Adam member dealers. Adam dealers employ more than 6,500 people in southeastern Wisconsin, which supports thousands of local families. Adam also contributes to many local charities. For example, Adam recently completed their Change Your Oil, Change Lives promotion, benefiting Feeding America of Eastern Wisconsin. Over the past 15 years, they've raised over $953,000, which provided more than 3.8 million meals to people in southeastern Wisconsin, the majority being children and seniors. These are just a few reasons to service your car or truck and buy your next vehicle from an Adam member dealer instead of a national online company with no ties to our community. To find an Adam member dealer, visit adam.com. That's ADAMM.com.
It's happened again. Another local organization switching to business technology from James Imaging Systems. This time, it's St.